Welcome back, everybody. I'm in sweatpants, and today we are going to do a little maintenance video. There's a tank behind you, Peter's tank, that hasn't had any maintenance done in a couple of weeks. So today I'm just going to do some trimming, kind of show you guys my basic maintenance routine that I do, well, sometimes on a weekly basis. But, life gets busy. Sometimes you can't get to it every week. So in this video, I'll show you guys the little things that I do to keep my tanks looking the way they look. So yeah, let's get to it. So as you can see in the tank, the plants are getting pretty long. The stem plants in the back are definitely too long. There's algae on the glass. Some of the plants in the foreground are hiding the plants in the midground. And this is just from a couple weeks of not doing regular trimming. So today we're going to look after that and try and make it look like Aquascape again. I have this fine filter floss that I'm going to replace in the filter. But first I need to actually shut this off, just like that. Then we just take this top off, like that. And I need to grab a bucket. Something like this will work. From what you can make out of that unfocused piece of floss, it's packed full of dirt and soil and fish poop. And all we're going to do is throw the new piece of filter floss into it like that, and simply turn the filter back on. And just like that, we have a better running filter. So usually, if I'm just doing a basic maintenance routine, I will swap out the filter floss. And then once every couple of months, I'll actually go through the whole filter and overhaul it, clean out the sponges, rinse out the biomedia, and get it really clean. But right now, I don't think it's necessary. We don't have a huge bio load in this tank to begin with, so that should be fine. So the boring part is over. Next, we're going to start trimming up some of these plants. You can see that some of these stem plants in the back are getting way too tall and are actually creeping over the rocks, and you can't even see the rocks. The Cypress halifera, I think it's called, is quite huge. That all needs to be chopped down, and I don't know if I'll remove it and let it grow back, or maybe I'll just plant them back in different spots. And then the Lobelia cardinalis will also need to be trimmed. And then after that, we will clean the glass, do a bit of a water change, and honestly, that's pretty much it. It usually only takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to do this tank, so it's a nice quick one. So we're actually going to start by trimming these stem plants in the back and get these down a little bit lower here. I can't remember the name of these plants. I did know at one point, and now I forget, of course, when I film the maintenance video. That's just the way it goes. But all I'm doing here is just a simple snip close to the rock. And because these are stem plants, you can actually see on one of these here. It'll actually, where you snip it, it'll grow another shoot like that one is there. And most of the time you actually get two every time you snip it. So 2-for-1 deal, I guess. This is actually one of my favorite things to do with my fish tanks, is doing the maintenance and looking after it. I know for a lot of people this is probably a bit of a pain, which it can be, especially when you've got a busy schedule. Maybe you've got a family or a job where you're working late. it's hard to prioritize and get motivated to come down and spend time with your tanks, but just remember that the benefit you get out of doing this is so great and rewarding. Actually, the nice thing about doing these YouTube videos is that it somewhat encourages me to actually come down here and spend time with the tanks and do the maintenance to make it look good, not only for myself and the people that I have that come over and visit, but also for you guys too, right? So I find that it's actually helping me kind of get more passionate about aquascaping in general. So I also like that aspect. I think that's pretty much it for the stem plants. But what I'm going to do is actually replant these in the back. And the good thing about these stem plants, you don't really need to get them back down into the substrate. You can sort of just plunk them in and amongst the other plants that are already there. I'll show you with this one here. Sort of just stick it down in there, and the plant will actually form roots near the soil and find the soil eventually. It's nice because when you do this, it almost makes it look like you didn't do any trimming and the tank has been perfect the whole time. Somewhat of a hack, I guess. I learned this on Green Aqua's channel, actually. It's okay to have some long ones in the back there, the very back. Now I know you can barely see them now, but once I trim up that this plant here, Cypress halferi, you'll hopefully be able to see them a bit better, and I'll re-angle the camera near the end so you can see the final result. But yeah, for stem plants, that's pretty much all I do. I just hack them away and pluck most of them back in, and it almost makes it look like you were never there. Now let's trim out this foreground a little bit. These are somewhat difficult to trim because they grow so dense. I'm gonna cut one and see what happens here. Wow, it's big. That one out. Might actually be worth it to leave some of these ones here and just trim the ones in the middle so we can actually expose this beautiful Blixa japonica that's in the center here. Actually, from what I've seen and heard on different YouTube channels, some folks have said that this plant is actually sometimes picky and fussy and hard to grow, but for whatever reason in this tank, it grows like a weed. Which, you know what? I'll take it. You have to take those wins when you can get them. Now you can actually see the Blixa japonica in the back. It's been hidden for so long. Might actually leave it like that. Maybe trim out a couple of these like that. I'm actually going to try planting some of these around the side here, right down into that Monte Carlo. If it'll stay, this might actually cause more problems than solutions, but Now I think that's all I'm going to do for the Cypress halferi. Kind of like the way it dips down in the center and tapers upward like that on both sides. And then I also planted some down in the corners on both sides. Always have to get a shot of Peter when I get the chance. Next I'll tackle these Lobelia cardinalis clumps. I probably won't trim these too hard. Well, I say that now, but sometimes I get carried away. What I'm going to do here is trim out the longest parts of it, I think. This is all growing pretty uniformly in here. I don't know if I want to really take out too much. Might be worth just thinning it out in the center a little bit. All I did there was just thin it out a little bit. Nothing crazy. And we'll move over to this side. And again, here all we're going to do is trim out some of these longer shoots and just shrink it down a little bit. Take that whole one out of there. And yeah, that's the finished product there. I did hack it a little bit more, and I don't think I'm actually going to replant any of the stems that I cut off of it. Might leave it like that just to grow back in. Now for the foreground, I have some Monte Carlo and Marsilea down here. And I don't think I'm going to touch it. I might trim out some of these Marsilea leaves that have some blackbeard algae on them. But I think that'll be it, honestly. And then we'll do a water change. And that will be that. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to do for trimming. I think it looks a lot better. All that we need to do now is scrape this algae off the glass. Take the rest of these plants out of here. Do a quick water change. And voila, we have a maintenance aquascape. So yeah, we're just going to scrape the glass quick with this handy dandy razor. It's a razor on like a extendable stick. If you don't have one of these, I highly suggest you get one, especially if you have a rimless tank. They don't scratch the glass, they clean it very well, and also it leaves a bit of an indent on the side so that when you go in to scrape your corners, it doesn't hit the silicone. So another great tool to add to your arsenal at some point. So the glass cleaning is complete. And at this stage, it's really important to shut off the filter if you haven't already. That way, when we do our water change, we can actually suck out all of this algae that's suspended in the water column and remove it. So with that being said, the next step is to fill or to change the water in this tank. And after that, wipe the glass clean. And that's all. I'll see you guys back here in a few minutes. By the way, this fish tank water, save it. It's excellent for your house plants. If you have a garden outside, it's also excellent for that. There's nutrients and stuff that's in that water that was from the tank, and that is just food for your house plants and garden. So if you can, save it. Trust me. Hey guys, that's it for this maintenance video. Thanks again for tuning in to Sticks and Stones Aqua, and we'll see you on the next one.